Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to talk about my everyday carry, or EDC, which includes my CCW, for those of you who like TLAs, or three-letter acronyms. That was way funnier in my head before I started recording. This is what I carry on me every single day. This is what I carry on my person, not like what I carry in a bag or in a vehicle or something like that, which I carry this bag every day, which has stuff in it.
It's called backpack power, baby.
But for this video, I just wanted to focus on what I actually carry on my body. And I want you guys to comment below and tell me what I'm missing. And my EDC has evolved over the years. Now, some people like to carry the bare minimum, such as keys, wallet, and cell phone, whereas other people carry pretty much everything but the kitchen sink. I try to come up with a method that balances both capability and comfort, because if you're carrying too much stuff, then you're probably not gonna wanna carry it every single day, and then you're gonna introduce a level of inconsistency. And towards the end of the video, I'll cover the 4 most important things I carry on me, whether or not I'm going into a non-permissive environment, like an airport, a courthouse, or something like that. How often do I go to a courthouse? Not much anymore, since I'm not a cop anymore. But yeah, so basically like any environment where you can't have a gun or a knife. There are 4 things that I always carry on me, and I'll cover those at the end of the video. And some of you, if you've seen videos like this, you probably have a suspicion of what those 4 things are. So if you think you know, before you get to that point, don't cheat, don't look ahead, but comment below what you think those 4 things are, or one of those 4 things. And it should go without saying, but I also carry clothes on me every day. However, this is everyday carry and not everyday wear. But on the topic of that, I do have one thing that I always do when it comes to clothing, and that is wearing closed-toe shoes that lace up. So I don't wear flip-flops, I don't wear Crocs or any shoes like that. I always have some type of shoe on that allows me to move quickly without it falling off. So that is one thing that I would say that would be an everyday carry as it relates to clothing. And then everything else I wear is basically just to accommodate me to be, 1, comfortable, and then fit into whatever type of setting I'm in, and then also carry those items that I'll cover in this video. And then I also wear a belt that is able to support my gun, and that's something we'll talk about as well, the importance of having a good belt. But let's get started. So first things first, I'll go from head to toe here. I always have sunglasses or some sort of eye protection on me. When I was a cop, I used to always have some sort of lenses that I could put on my eyes, be it sunglasses or even clear lenses. And when I worked shifts that had both day and night, I started wearing lenses that were transition lenses, so that during those morning hours or late night hours, the lenses would be clear, and during the daytime, they would be dark, so I could wear them like sunglasses. And the reason for this is, if you ever find yourself in a situation where, say it's an active shooter, or something where you have time to do a little bit more than draw in a sub 2-second draw stroke and shoot, you might want to put on eye protection, because if you get into a shooting in most residential areas or even some sort of commercial building, there's going to be a lot of debris flying in the air, bouncing off walls. And I'm not saying these are going to protect you from a bullet, but they could protect you from getting debris in your eye, which could then inhibit your ability to defend yourself. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I've had these for probably 10 years and they're super scratched up. You can swap the lenses out on them. But yeah, I think it's important to have something like that. The next thing I have on me, well, again, we'll just go from head to toe, is a watch. And this is the Garmin Fenix 7X Pro Sapphire Solar. That's a mouthful. I like having a fitness watch, and in my opinion, the Fenix series of watches are really great for fitness, and then also the battery is much longer than other smart watches on the market. So this one is, again, the 7X Pro Sapphire Solar. It has the solar panel or solar ring around the face. I used to be kind of skeptical of whether or not that did anything. I think they claimed that it just increases the battery life, but one day my watch died completely, and it was a bright sunny day, and I was just kind of curious to see whether or not this would do anything. So I laid my watch out on the porch, and lo and behold, after about 15 to maybe 30 minutes, it powered back on. Now, it wasn't powering on enough to be able to go through and like, I wouldn't be able to do a workout with it. But in like a survival situation, if you are out in the wilderness or wherever for days on end, it's good to know that your watch could recharge itself with the sun's energy. The other thing I love about this watch is the daily suggested workout. So this watch, it tracks my sleep, it tracks my body battery, which I don't know what type of black magic they use to calculate that. It tracks my stress levels, steps, basically everything. And it uses all that to create what's called a daily suggested workout. And these are runs that are based on either goals you have or your current energy level, your current fitness level. And these workouts are probably the most accurate and precise workouts I've ever done in terms of my readiness on any given day. So typically if you do some sort of training, you're gonna follow a program that's kind of a cookie cutter program, or maybe it might be tailored to you, but it doesn't account for how you slept the night before. It doesn't account for how you did in the workout yesterday. This one constantly adapts to how I did in yesterday's workout, and it also adapts for my sleep and other energy levels. And it's also since it's a Garmin, it's a GPS unit on my hand. That's for, land navigation purposes. If I find myself in a situation where I'm lost, if I was hiking or get lost or something, having something that can point me back to safety is great to have as well. So next thing I carry every day on me is my wedding ring, because I am married, and so as a married man, I carry my wedding ring on me every single day. And if you're married, you should too. What's next? I don't carry this mic on me every day, but if I'm filming, I guess I do. I have keys on me every day, as most people do. And if you'll notice on these, well, before I have them on this carabiner thing, I used to use a regular carabiner, and I had a problem with that because with a regular carabiner, whenever you would unclip it, the keys would also fall off. So I got this carabiner thing that allows you to lock the part that the keys are in, and then also still use it to clip on your belt loop or backpack, and then you can also lock that down so that neither one of them open. So that's pretty cool. And then I also have this glow tape on all of my keys. This glow tape is amazing. I've never seen glow material that lasts and holds a charge as well as this one does. But the reason I have this is because if it's dark at night and I drop my keys or drop something that I would not want to lose or find or spend a lot of time trying to search for, they stick out very obviously. And obviously I have a flashlight on me as well that I can use. I just like having something like this that will hold that charge and be able to stick out on the ground. I think it's valuable to have something like that on, especially keys that you don't want to lose. I put this on my wife's keys as well, so that way if she's ever in a dark parking lot and she drops her keys, she can find them really quickly. What else? Okay, we'll do the gun, because everyone wants to know what I carry. That's probably gonna be the first comment and what everyone focuses on. This is my gun. There are many like it, but this one is mine. This is for those of you who get that reference, comment below. This one is a Glock 48. Everything on this, on the internals, is stock, with the exception of this grip control right here. This is basically just a folding gas pedal, so that whenever you are aimed out on target, you have a ledge to be able to put your thumb. These are very popular in the competitive shooting space. My buddy Gary over at Black Steel, they developed this device, and it is absolutely phenomenal. And then the best part is it folds up whenever you reholster it, and then it pops back out. I've had this thing on this gun for probably over a year and haven't had any issues with it, knock on wood. I also have this magazine release that's from S15, so I have the S15 mags, and you have to use the metal mag release, because if you use the regular mag release, the metal mag can wear down on your plastic mag release. And the other thing I have is the back strap for this Glock 48. I have that because I have a really, really high grip, and with a Glock 48, 43, or even with a 19, I get a lot of slide cuts on my thumb. I'll show you a picture, or pop a picture up on the screen. So I like having that back strap so that I can get that really high grip, and it gives my hand plenty of clearance, and I don't have a bloody hand every time I go train. The next thing I have is this HoloSun EPS carry. It's great, it's reliable, it holds a 0, the battery life is great. So yeah, I have a video about that I'll link somewhere. And then what else? Oh, obviously the light. I have the TLR7 Sub, which is a good light. It's really small, compact, and throws a pretty good beam, pretty good flood as well. People, they get wrapped around the axle about their carry gun, and they trick out their carry gun with all of this stuff. And they have these carry guns that cost thousands of dollars, either because they're buying a 2011 that already cost thousands of dollars, or because they take their Glock and then they throw a bunch of stuff into it, and then now they have this $3,000 gun. I don't do that for a few reasons. The first is because I trust the engineers at Glock to make a product that is supposed to function in a very specific way, and I don't like tinkering with that. The next reason is because I don't want to have a multi-$1,000 gun on me that if I get into a shooting, self-defense shooting, the police are gonna seize that, and then I'm going to not have that multi-$1,000 gun on me for however long it takes for them to do their investigation of the self-defense trial. I have some buddies that have just these tricked out, amazing 2011s or tricked out Glocks by whatever the company, I can't even think of the company's names right now because I don't really use them. They got like slide cuts and porting and all this stuff. And it's like, dude, here's the thing. If you can't hit a man-sized target at 50, I'm gonna say 50 yards. I would say further, but I'm gonna say 50 yards. If you can't hit a man-sized target at 50 yards with your stock concealed carry gun, then it's not the gun that's the problem. It's the you. You need to be able to use a stock gun. In my opinion, you need to be able to use a stock gun and be able to hit a man-sized target at around 50 yards and even further in some situations. Not to say that that's going to be the average self-defense distance. I just think that, you know, this gun has a stock trigger that's about, I think it's like 5.5 pounds. And some of y'all hear that, 5.5 pounds. Yeah, that's a duty weight or a self-defense weight for a trigger. If you're walking around with a 2.5 pound trigger or a 1.5 pound trigger, which that's just negligent. Again, it's not the trigger. Get a tighter grip, align your sights, and shoot the gun better. So what else do I have on this gun? Oh, let's talk about this. So yeah, I got these S15 magazines. I love these. The OEM mags are 10 round capacity, whereas this one is a 15 round capacity. So I mean, having a 15 round capacity in a gun this size, that's amazing. And then the other thing I have is the ammo, obviously, which is, these are not my range ammo. I would just use ball for that or full metal jacket. But these are the defense rounds I use. They're Winchester Ranger. I like them. I trust them. I think they're a reliable source of ammunition and not source of ammunition. They're a reliable type of ammunition. I think they're plus P for someone's gonna ask. Yeah, they're Luger plus P, Winchester 9mm Ranger. Then I also have a backup mag that I carry as well. This is another S15 mag with their base plate that adds +2. I don't know if you can see that. So this is a 17 round magazine. Just in full transparency, there may be a day where I don't have the mag and I just have the gun with the 15 round mags in it, but about 98% of the time I have this on me as well.
60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
All right, also have a knife on me. This is just a super cheap Gerber knife. Nothing fancy, not like an auto opening. It just kind of auto opened there. That was kind of cool. Did you see that? It's not doing it again. I bought this it was like a pack of 3 from Costco. And I don't know, it was like $30 for all 3 or $25 or something like that. But the reason I have just a super cheap knife and not a really expensive one is I don't want to lose a $300 or $400 knife. So if I get like a Benchmade, which I've looked at before, I'm afraid that something like that, I'm going to misplace, lose, drop. And the other thing is, if you ever go through an area and let's say you forget to take your knives out of your bag, like you're going through TSA, which I've had this experience before. I had a multi-tool that I had throughout my entire enlistment in the Marines. This multi-tool had been through all kinds of stuff with me, and it was in my carry-on bag, or actually it was in a bag inside my carry-on bag. Went through TSA, pulled me aside, which it happens often. I sometimes leave bullets or whatever in my bag accidentally. So my multi-tool was in there and they had to take it away. Now I had the option of going back to the ticket counter and like putting it and like checking it or whatever. I didn't want to do that. We were going to be late for the flight if I did that. And so I lost my multi-tool that I had with me for probably 10 years. To say all that, that is why I now have cheap knives. Now I'm not saying you get like a $5 knife off Amazon that's just going to completely fall apart on you. You want one that's going to hold up a little bit, but I don't like having them that are really expensive because I don't want to lose a really expensive knife because of one of those two things. So, have a knife though. Sometimes I carry an extra knife. Right now, I just had this knife. The next thing I have on me is a flashlight. This one has been through a lot as well. I have several of these. This is the Streamlight ProTac 2LX. Yeah, this one's pretty bright. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. The lighting with the camera sometimes throws that off. This one, as you can see, the clip is broken here. Typically, it has a clip that goes around, so you can, clip it in your pants or your pocket. And I like this one too because you can clip it on a hat. So if you're wearing a hat, you clip that on the bill of the hat, and it is basically like an improvised headlamp. These are about $30 or $40 on Amazon, and same reason, same justification for the knife and the gun. I don't carry around really expensive flashlights because this is more about just losing it or breaking it. These lights do more than I need for a concealed carry application. The battery life is good. You can also get rechargeable ones. The throw, the lumens are pretty good, and then as well as the flood that it has. It's just a really cool light. It has various functionalities. You can do like strobe and all that stuff. I just do the setting to where it's bright the moment I hit it. I don't like to think about, oh, I need to hit it 3 times to get this functionality. I think the strobe thing is kind of a gimmick. I will sometimes use the lower brightness setting if I'm using it for some sort of utility use and not like walking through a dark parking lot and checking behind cars and stuff. But having a white flashlight, let's talk about why you would want to do that and why this isn't one of those 4 things, but this is an essential piece of gear that I think everyone should have on them. The first thing is, where I live, we have night every single day. And so this big ball of light in the sky goes away, and as humans, we're limited in our ability to see at night. So having something that was a long way to say, just it gets dark every day, guys. It gets dark every day, have a light. But every single day, it's going to get dark, right? I don't know whether or not I'm going to get a shooting every day. Granted, I carry it on me. But I do know it's going to get dark every day, so I carry a flashlight on me. The other reason is because it will, in those situations, it will increase your situational awareness. And it also, for anyone who may be a predator who's trying to look at you as a target, you pull out a super bright LED light that's got like a really white color to it, they're going to think one of 2 things. One, they're just going to think, wow, this person is very aware, they have their head on a swivel, and they're probably not an easy target. Or the other thing they're going to think is they're a cop. When I was going through school, I would do tutoring for some inner city kids. And this was before I was a police officer. I was just got out of the Marines, and I was going through school for mechanical engineering. And so I would do tutoring. One of the kids was looking for something in his backpack. It was getting dark. So I had this light on me. I pulled it out and I was helping him. And his first thought was, "You the police?" And I was like, "No, I just have a flashlight." But again, this is inner city, so there's a lot of police activity. They probably see that a lot. And most people relate a really bright and white flashlight to law enforcement because that's generally who carries that. And when people see that type of light on, they're like, oh, it's a cop. So having a bright light on you not only increases your situational awareness, but it also projects to others that you are someone who's aware of their surroundings and possibly someone who works in law enforcement. Now, again, I'm not saying you should go around saying you work in law enforcement. That would be impersonating a police officer, so don't do that. But just having a white light on you, that's not impersonating. The next thing is OC spray. This is the Palm OC spray. See, I got the tape on there as well, because I don't want to lose this. One of my flashlights, I have that tape on there too, because I drop it on the ground. And because if you drop your flashlight on the ground, then you can't use your flashlight to find your flashlight. See? Thinking ahead. But this is the Palm OC spray. It's super compact. I got several of these, one for me, my wife, and just another one to have around. Not only did I buy the actual live versions, but I also purchased their inert training kits because pepper spray, OC spray is one of those things where people just buy it and they have it on them and it's like a lucky rabbit's foot. They don't actually train with it. Well, for one, it's kind of hard to train with it because once you spray it, you can't reload pepper spray. Well, if you're like most people, you probably never actually sprayed at pepper spray. So you don't know the range, you don't know the spread, you don't know the exact angle you need to hold it on. And if you ever have to use it in that situation, you're going to pull it up and then start spraying and then adjust your aim. Now, that may work, but I'm a massive advocate for training and not just assuming that you're going to rise to the occasion whenever something presents itself. So I bought the inert training units. They're like these blue, they come in a pack of 3, and it just shoots water. I also have this because I believe that you need to have more than just a hammer, right, in your toolkit, which, if you're not getting the analogy, this is the hammer. So you need to have more to be able to solve a problem with than just one thing. So I have a gun, I have a knife, I have a flashlight, I have this, I have my brain, right? Verbal judo, those types of things. You want to have more of that so that way you're not forced into a situation where you have to shoot someone. If you can use this, get rid of someone's vision and then run away, then great. If you can use this, shine it at someone and have them back off because now they think you're a cop or think you maybe work in security, then great. Now you don't have to resort to your other more lethal means of self-defense. So, gun, knife, flashlight, and pepper spray, which I guess the flashlight may be last. I don't know. It's debatable. What else? This is a big one. Tourniquet. My philosophy is, if you carry something to cause massive hemorrhaging on someone, if you need it, obviously, in a self-defense situation, then you should also carry something to stop it. One, to stop it on them if you find yourself in a situation where you defend yourself, now that person's in need, and you feel inclined to help them. And the other thing is, if you believe that you might get in a shooting, you carry a gun on you and you might get in a shooting, then you have to also accept that you may be shot yourself. And not carrying something to stop the bleeding, there's a certain amount of hubris in that to think that you're going to get away scot-free and not have anything happen. You get clipped in an artery, you have maybe less than a minute and probably only several seconds before you will lose consciousness and eventually go into shock and bleed out. So having a tourniquet on you is a absolute must-have. I would actually say, even if you can't have a gun on you, you should have a tourniquet on you. Think about in the Vegas shooting, whenever the guy was shooting from whatever the hotel was. Think about if every single person had a tourniquet and understood how to use it. Again, going back to this, like, don't just have it. You want to be able to know how to use it, make sure you understand how to use it. If every single person had that, I bet they would have saved so many lives, because during a shooting or something like that, the most likely cause of death is massive hemorrhaging from a extremity, from a leg or an arm. Now, some people may say, okay, yeah, but what about chest seals? What about having a chest seal? And for those of you who don't know, it's a device that prevents you from getting a tension pneumothorax, or is supposed to help prevent you from getting a tension pneumothorax, which is a buildup of air in the lungs. And this video is going off on a tangent now, but it's a buildup of air in the lung, or around the lungs, and it keeps the lungs from inflating. Well, my response to that is, yes, if you're going to carry that, I think you should carry that as well. But at least you should carry a tourniquet, because you can always reverse the effects of a tension pneumothorax. You cannot put blood back in the body unless you go to a hospital where they can actually put blood back in the body. So having a tourniquet prevents massive blood loss, which is non-reversible, whereas a chest seal can prevent something that is reversible. So priority, if I'm triaging this, I think carrying a tourniquet on you is a must-have. This is the soft T wide, maybe normal. I'm not sure. I don't remember the exact dimensions of the wide versus normal. I think this is the normal. I used to carry the cat tourniquet on me. The reason I carry this one instead is because it doesn't have any Velcro. I found that the Velcro in the cat tourniquets was cumbersome and would like get in the way and stick to stuff, and over time lose its Velcro-ness, its stickiness. But this one, you can just fold it up real nice, and this one's also easier to fold up flat than the cat tourniquet. Put it in my pocket, and I barely notice it's there. So have something, whether it's this or the cat or another one. I'm gonna have a future video where I'm reviewing several tourniquet brands, so look out for that. But yeah, have a tourniquet. Next is wallet. I have a wallet on me with IDs and things in it. What else? Phone, here we go. I always have my phone on me. It's another flashlight, for one. It's a communication device, and then it's also navigation. This is the iPhone Mini 13. It's like their last version of the Mini series. I wish they would go back to that. I can't stand these massive phones where it feels like I'm carrying a mini tablet in my pocket. I like the Mini because it's easier to put in your pocket. It's easier to hold and use one-handed. You don't have to like really stretch up your thumb to get to the top. But yeah, iPhone 13 Mini. What else? Okay, we talked about the gun. Now let's talk about, easy guys, I'm just taking my belt off. Now let's talk about the holster and the belt. So I've used several types of belts. I'm currently on this one. This is made by Baer, B-A-E-R. They make great stuff. This is actually their inner belt for their duty belt, or like their duty rig thing. So this is a Velcro liner, inner liner, but it has enough rigidity to be able to hold up my Glock 48 and my holster. And it's super comfortable compared to some of those other belts I've used that they have like a steel core. And over time, I just noticed I think it causes back problems just because it's so thick. This one's more comfortable while also being rigid enough to hold the gun up. And the cool thing about this is while I'm wearing this, I can quickly don a duty belt on top of this. So I don't have to take another belt off. I can just put the duty belt on top of this. Now, the only thing that would slow me down is the fact that I use these loops and I have to take the holster off and then put that on. They do have clips, which I'll talk about the holster in a second, but they do have clips to make that faster. A belt is a must-have for concealed carry because you cannot just use your average Walmart belt to carry your duty gun, especially if you're carrying a larger or heavier gun. But even for a Glock 43X, you need to have a belt that's going to be able to hold it up. You should be able to do that with your belt and it stay in position, not like, you know, droop down and flop over. This isn't the most rigid of concealed carry belts, but for what I need, it does the job. Next up, holster. The most important part for being able to hold your gun in concealed carry. This is a tier 1 Spara. It's outside the waistband, so it goes right there. I like these because they suck up really tight. I don't carry appendix. I will do a future video on why I don't carry appendix, but I don't carry appendix. I don't agree with it. Oh man, here we go. That's the phrase that's going to light people up in the comments. I don't carry appendix and I don't agree with it. You're not gonna care about anything else I say from this video. Because I said that I don't agree with appendix carry, there are going to be people foaming at the mouth in the comment section. So let's keep going. This is made by tier 1. It's got these, you know, clips here to go on the belt, but it sucks up really nice to the body. And the thing I like about this too is, going back to the light, most guns or most holsters, when you're holstering a gun with a light, they have to make the mouth, this part right here, the mouth of the holster really, really wide. This is especially prevalent when you're using like Surefire X300s that they're like really wide compared to the gun, because you have to have that channel in order for the gun to be holstered, otherwise it wouldn't fit. This one though, they do a great job of, I mean, you can still see in there, but they do a great job of allowing enough room for the light to fit, but also not being too wide that stuff could get in there and pull the trigger. I've actually had some holsters where I could reach my pinky in and pull the trigger. As someone with kids, now my kids are old enough now they wouldn't do this, but when our kids were younger, I had a concern that, well, yeah, if my kids ever reached in, I don't want them to accidentally get their little fingers in there and pull the trigger and the gun go off. And also when I was an SRO, we had our Safariland duty holsters that had those really wide mouths for the light to go in. And I was always concerned that, well, what if one of these kids comes by and reaches his little finger in, doesn't pull the gun out, but pulls the trigger while it's in my holster. So I don't like holsters that do that. I try to make sure that whatever holster I have conceals the trigger as much as possible, because make no mistake, this is a safety device. Having a quality holster that is made for your gun, not just a generic holster that any gun will fit into, but having a quality holster that is made specifically for your model gun is a safety device. Especially when you're talking about striker fire guns that only require you to pull the trigger to go off when they're loaded. They don't have any sort of external safeties. They don't have a grip safety. You have to have something that absolutely 100% of the time protects that trigger. And this one does that. The cant on that, I think it's like a 10-degree cant, if any of you are wondering. I don't generally carry a magazine holster. Most of the time, I will carry the magazine just inside my pocket and do like a reload from that. And when I go and compete in like an IDPA match, I will carry my mags in that configuration. I won't just go to the competition and wear like a special rig that I don't actually wear on a daily basis. I think it's important to train like you intend to fight if you ever have to fight. What's next? I don't think I have any. Oh, talk about shoes. Going back to, this feels goofy, taking my shoe off in a video. Now I'm like lopsided. Yeah, once again, I wear shoes that lace up. I encourage you to do the same, because you never know when you're gonna find yourself in a situation where you have to run. And having flip-flops or Crocs or any other shoes that don't allow you to run are going to, I believe, make you less able to protect yourself and protect others. So make sure you have some sort of footwear. These aren't waterproof. These are actually my running shoes. But make sure you have some sort of footwear that allows you to do that. Next thing on the list is I sometimes go on runs. You've seen my videos where I'm on a run. So on a run, I have my heart rate monitor on me. That's the Polar HR, and I link it with my watch because I do a lot of zone 2 endurance runs. And then the other thing I have is this thing. I have a knife. I have a tourniquet in here. The tourniquet I have in here is the snake staff tourniquet. It's really small, really compact, and it fits perfectly inside this pouch. And then I'll also have this on there as well. I don't carry a gun on me when I go on runs. I know some people are gonna lose their minds about that, but when it comes to everyday carry and what you're gonna have on you, you always have to balance practicality, comfort with capability. Like all those things you have to constantly balance those. And when I'm going on a run, I'm just not going to wear my gun. Not all the time. I have gone on runs in areas where I did wear my gun because I felt like I needed to, but I don't always do it. So maybe you'll disagree with that in the comments. Okay, now that we've got this stuff out of the way, let's talk about the 4 most important things that I carry on a daily basis. And the first of these is my faith in Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian, and I believe that that is the most important thing I carry with me because that is how I conduct myself throughout the day. And my belief in Jesus, my belief in the Bible, and my faith is going to cause me or make me more likely to behave in a way congruent with those teachings. And that's going to be not because of me, that's because of the Holy Spirit. That is by far the most important thing I carry with me. That also speaks to my mindset surrounding self-defense. I don't go out hoping that I'm going to get into a shooting. If you are constantly thinking like, oh man, I wish someone would, that's not loving your neighbor. You should hope that you never get into a shooting. Now, there's a difference between that and if something happens, thinking, if like an active shooting happens, thinking to yourself after the fact, man, I wish I could have been there to, save lives and stop that shooter. That's different. But going out into the world being like, oh, I hope I get into a shooting or a self-defense so I can use my gun or use my knife or use my jiu-jitsu, that is a problematic mindset, and I don't believe that if you think that or act that way that you're acting like a Christian. The next thing, and speaking of running, is I carry a fit and healthy body on me. Well, not on me because it is me, but I do things so I have a fit and healthy body. Because one, just from a pure statistics standpoint, you as an American, if you're watching this video and you're American or whoever you are, if you're overweight and out of shape and you carry this stuff on you on a daily basis, you are doing something that doesn't make sense because you're statistically more likely to die of cardiovascular disease than you are of someone trying to kill you. So when I see these 2A guys that are overweight and out of shape, I think to myself, you don't carry a gun because of the inherent nature of preserving your life. You carry a gun just because it's cool. Because if you honestly cared about preserving your life, you would have a healthier lifestyle and not eat a bunch of fast food and be overweight. So one, there's that reason because you're wanting to actually preserve your life in a meaningful way. And then the other reason is because if you're someone who can run and is strong, you're harder to kill. Because you can either run away from a situation or you can fight your way through a situation. But not being in shape prevents you from being able to do that. And if you have the mindset of, well, I don't need to run because I have my gun. Well, you haven't thought through the details of self-defense. You don't know what you're talking about. And then two, that's negligent. Like that's kind of a negligent mindset to think, well, I just need my gun. I don't have to have all this other stuff. And you're just lying to yourself. And that's it. That's all I have to say about that. So be in shape, be healthy, don't be fat. The next thing is mindset. We used to have this saying in the Marines, it was one mind, any weapon. It sounds kind of cheesy, but I think it really makes sense. Anything in this room right now, not anything, but a lot of things in this room right now could be a weapon. Or the room you're in right now could be a weapon to defend yourself with. So having that mindset, for one, is great because then you don't get locked into the mindset of, oh, I don't have my gun on me, I don't have my knife on me, I'm defenseless. And you can have all the cool gear, but without the proper mindset, the gear is going to do you no good. So let's talk about what a proper mindset actually is, and that could be an entire video to itself. But the first thing is, don't be in the wrong place with the wrong people at the wrong time. If you cover those 3 bases, then you're probably going to be okay most of the time. I like to operate in such a manner that when it's all said and done, I'm going to feel like I carried all of this stuff in vain. I'm going to feel like, why in the world did I even have that? Because I never needed to use it. Why did I do all this stuff? That is how you should carry yourself. You should feel like all the preparations you do are in vain and that they are wasted. This also means that you want to understand how to de-escalate a situation and disengage and not let your ego get you into a fight that you don't need to be involved in. So be it road rage or dealing with some problematic family member or an ex, you need to be in the mindset of humility and you need to leave your ego at the door, because if you're walking around with your gun and a big ego, you're much more likely to find yourself in a situation that you don't need to be in. And another element of having a proper mindset is if you find yourself in a situation where you're forced to defend yourself or defend others, it's having the willingness to do violence. And this doesn't mean that you fantasize about violence, but that you have a willingness to defend yourself and others. So regardless of what you put in your pockets, what you have between your ears is most important. Unfortunately, proper mindset is much more difficult to acquire than purchasing cool gear or adding something to your shopping cart on Amazon. But it can be acquired through education, training, and experience. Which brings me to my next point. Every single day, I carry with me my education, training, and experience. Now, experience is much more difficult to acquire, but there is a plethora of education and training online and courses offered near you and all over the US. Think of training like this. It offers you a portfolio of responses that you can use when a given situation arises. Now, one example of education is the video you're watching right now, as well as all the other videos we have on our channel. And we also have free resources for those of you who are interested. We have a home security guide and some others on our website, so you can click the link in the description. And if you're interested in taking one of our courses, then you can scan this QR code or click the link below. You can take our home security masterclass or our target focused training program. And for those of you who are local to Tennessee and the surrounding areas, I'm actually going to be teaching my target focused clinic at the end of August, and I'll provide a link to that in the description. But regardless if you train with us or some other reputable organization, please get training because we need more highly trained and responsibly armed citizens. That's all I got for this video. Again, if you think that I missed something, which I'm sure some of you do, then please comment below, let me know what you think. Or if there's something I'm carrying that you're like, dude, you're crazy. You don't need a tourniquet. You don't need pepper spray. Let me know. You don't need a phone. Comment below and let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to train to a higher standard.